There's a ZEN biker right now. Looks like you got yourself a new bike.
Oh yeah, my new baby.
Sweet. Look at this baby.
That is a lot of bike.
Absolutely. So you're ready to do an interview?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This was such a sweet ride out there. Look at this beautiful day.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Come on.
Hi everybody, this is Chris Cornelius, and welcome to another episode of Zen Moments. And like I said in the introduction, I'm going to experiment and try different things. And so this episode I'm calling Zen Biker because I just happened to find myself a Zen biker here. And this is my brother.
How y'all doing?
Marc Cornelius. You can see the resemblance. And we'll tell you a little bit about him in a minute. The reason that I got the idea to do this episode was that we were having a discussion on spiritual topics and sharing our different experiences. And Marc has a unique approach to how he reaches his Zen. So I thought, let's do an episode on that because you know, I'd never thought of that before, but you know, it's like that's what the point of this program is how can we come to that place of centeredness and you know, a meditative state. I mean, the thing is, you can go into meditation through actually sitting in meditation, but there's a lot of different ways of doing it. So Marc has a unique approach to how he reaches his Zen. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do and how you get there and all that?
Okay. Well, one of the things, as you've so often pointed out to me, I'm a very restless person. It is true. I like to be in motion a lot. I have tried many times to just sit and meditate. And the result is usually I either start falling asleep. That doesn't happen a lot, but it has happened. Usually my brain just gets bored and I can't deal with this.
Anyone relate to that?
But I found that when I get on the motorcycle, the first thing is you got the roaring of the engine, and that what's even louder is the blasting of the wind as it goes past my ears. It's even hard to listen to myself. And so it's like kind of isolating me into my own little world, just me right here on the bike inside of my helmet. And I start riding, and of course, as I usually do, the brain takes over. I'm thinking about whatever it is I'm thinking about, sometimes daydreaming, or sometimes dealing with whatever's upsetting me, or the opposite, what's pleasing me at the moment. But eventually that starts to be quiet. It starts to subside, and then I'm just not really consciously thinking. My brain just shuts off. I'm totally aware of everything.
Wow.
Everything around me. In fact, when I'm in that state, I notice more details of things as the world is just rushing by, moving by. And it's sometimes more restful than sleeping.
Wow. Well, they say that meditation can be like that. If you achieve a deeper level of consciousness, you can call it that, it can be more restful than sleep.
It is. Because I don't have this, again, it does start off with the chatter, but I can get past the chatter. And I've found certain techniques that help me to achieve that state. The other thing is getting out into a beautiful place. As you know, I've been riding for a very long time in my life, and like many, you know, I was out. Get into the power and the speed and the cornering, and then I changed motorcycles, and it changed. I bought a Harley, and it changed my whole riding style and why I ride. And I'm just cruising, but getting out into, I mean, face it, we live in a beautiful area. There's a lot of canyons, and I just go out and ride. And I get to see all the beautiful trees, the rocks, the mountains. And I call it the rhythm of the road. You know, we get curves. It's almost like having a dance partner. You know,
Yeah.
it's me and my bike, and we're just moving through, and it's all automatic.
Now, see, I keep, seeing elements of what people achieve in sitting meditation, because the stage that you talked about, I go through that. Many people that meditate go through that. You know, the mind chatters away, and then you just let it kind of go on for a while. And then if you wait long enough, usually, I've heard a long time ago, it takes about 20 minutes, for your mind to shut off. And then the mind will quiet down, unless you got a really overactive mind that day. And then you start achieving some of what you're talking about. But what I'm hearing is that the motorcycle, the motion, the noise of the wind, the rumble of the engine, and the scenic beauty, the scenery, the beautiful scenery. There we go. That becomes almost like your mantra.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And because of the noise of the wind and the noise of the motorcycle, it kind of isolates me from myself, from my conscious mind. Because we've all heard, trying to relax and maybe a lawnmower is going off or some sort of noise going on.
Yeah.
Now, depending on what it is, have you ever had tried to sleep, go to sleep and there's running water and you get that white noise and how soothing that is?
Or rain.
Or, oddly enough, I've heard that mothers used to help their babies go to sleep by running a vacuum cleaner. And with that constant going on, and sooner or later, the kids are going to sleep.
Yeah.
Riding the bike, that sound of the wind, the rumble of the engine becomes that white noise. And sooner or later, I get into a much more relaxed state, relaxed state of mind. And then again, the motion of the bike. And it's all automatic. I'm not consciously thinking, lean right, lean right. It just happens. And I'm flowing with that.
You become part of the bike, or the bike becomes part of you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not concentrating on the road, but I'm aware of everything. The other thing I do is I have these little, I call them waypoints. They're little beautiful things that I like to see, like this palm tree here. Look at this lovely cabin here. Or, look at this guy's cool mailbox. It looks like a barn. Just little things like that. And every time I take that route, I look to see that. And one of the things I've realized is if I'm concentrating or I'm thinking in my head, these thoughts going by, one of the places I look at is this beautiful big lodge.
Oh yeah, what's up?
Lot of motorcycles hang out there, and it's a beautiful place. Here I am riding by, looking right at it. Never even saw it.
Yeah.
Can't remember a thing about it. Where did that go?
Well, I think that's called being unconscious.
Yeah.
At least partially.
And, things that I would, how could you possibly miss that?
Yeah.
And yet, because I was so focused in my head about whatever it is I'm thinking about, never saw it.
Well, I think most people can relate to that. I certainly can. Where you miss your off ramp because you're too busy thinking when you're driving.
I've done it.
It's like the driving part. We're like on autopilot.
Yeah.
Most people can drive and not really think about their driving. Okay. Some people can't. Some people need to think more. But that's another topic.
Yeah.
And we don't want to go there. But what I'm saying is that. You can do this. He's doing it on a motorcycle, but we can do it driving, too.
You can do it driving. You can do it walking, hiking. Hiking is a good one.
Well, see, that's what in Buddhist meditation, they have a walking meditation. Exactly. Which is kind of cool. It's a little strange at first, but that's another topic, too, for another time. I think that that's why I wanted to do this episode, because to me, it doesn't matter how you get there. For me, it's like whatever floats your boat. If you, but here, and then in ancient times, well, not so ancient too, because people still do it today, all over China. They do Tai Chi.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
which is movement, meditative movements. And I think I heard once that Tai Chi was invented so that monks could meditate without falling asleep. So,
I don't know if that's
well, I don't know. At least
either,
part of the reason.
but there is a certain amount of sense to that.
Yeah.
Have you ever? I've actually done a little bit of Tai Chi, and
Mm-hmm.
it's actually a very beautiful and also relaxing thing
Yeah.
to do. And it focuses on internal, the little tiny details of what we're doing,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
opposed to power or force.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, I suppose riding a motorcycle, when you get into that, I mean, he used to ride R1,
yeah. And when I
race
was
bike.
when I was riding that, I mean, great bike,
Mm-hmm.
lot of performance, but I found myself always finding that perfect line in the corner to get the best performance out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I rode through so many beautiful areas, and
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to get that, and there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
Mind you, there's nothing wrong with that kind of riding.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with riding 150 miles an hour.
I know that's what tracks are for. That's what tracks are for. But
But he survived that, and now he rides Harleys.
But now I get out on the Harley, and yeah, there's a lot of nostalgia. Getting on a Harley to me is a lot like getting on a time machine. I could be that bike could be from the 70s, could be from the 50s. It doesn't matter. Becomes very timeless. So time doesn't matter anymore either. Speed doesn't matter.
Yeah,
All I'm just in the moment. I'm there riding the bike, looking for my little things that I love to look at because they bring me joy. They bring me
yeah.
a
There
nice
you go,
feeling.
joy. That's the thing. What can bring us joy?
Exactly. And it can be the littlest, simplest things.
Yeah.
Up that canyon, there's this one palm tree I look at. And I'm so like, how did
Yeah.
that palm tree get? But it's there, and it's
Yeah.
beautiful. So I love seeing it because
Yeah.
it stands out. And I notice every time that I didn't look at it, it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I didn't see the
Yeah.
palm tree again.
Yeah. Well, that's your practice.
Mm-hmm.
You've had a good Zen ride when you noticed all your little marker points, or what do you call those?
My little waypoints.
Yeah, waypoints, yeah.
And there's another gift to that, though. Aside from noticing the things that I like to see, quite often I'll see things that, how long? That's different. I never noticed that before.
Yeah.
Sometimes just the simplest little details of something, maybe a little canyon going up that isn't really remarkable in itself until you notice the details, maybe the little subtle colors or the shape. And my mind can retain that. I say,
Yeah.
wow.
Now, let me ask you a question. Have you noticed a markable, a measurable, or whatever you want to call it, difference in how is your riding the Harley? Have you noticed a change in you overall?
Overall, yes.
I mean, not even when you're not on the bike.
Yes, absolutely. First thing, it brings in a peace inside that I don't really know how to. It's hard to describe because until I interact with someone, I don't
Yeah.
really see it. And it's amazing how few people anger me. Even when I'm out riding and people are driving the way they drive sometimes,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
on freeways, most of the time, whatever. I just go around it and it doesn't bother me. And how I respond with people. It's so easy to talk with people I've never met, and it's amazing how many beautiful, wonderful people there really are in the world.
Yeah.
We walk, we go to a store and you see this guy over here or this lady over here. Most of the time, I used to be thinking, oh, come on, hurry up, get out of my way. And nowadays, I see somebody, it's like, oh, look, there's somebody living life just like I am. And, hey, maybe I'll hold the door open for them. Doesn't matter whether it's a guy or a girl, I don't care. Be nice to people. Because, and that's the thing, it's becoming automatic to do that.
And you would attribute this in part
Oh, yeah,
to
definitely.
your writing?
Definitely. Now, granted, yeah, the bike, it helps. Whenever I pull up, I've got something to talk about with somebody.
Well, people hear you coming like
yeah.
2 blocks away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's true. I once had, up in these little small towns that I like to ride up into because, it's pretty up there. It's beautiful. Mm. And I was talking to one of my friends, and I told her that, I love these little small towns. People are always so friendly and nice around here. And she said, well, yeah, they are friendly and nice, but what's the common denominator? Using my words.
Yeah.
And I said, me? She said, well, yeah. You ever consider that maybe you're behaving different to these people? Mm. You're nice to them, so they're nice to you.
What a concept. What
yeah.
we put out comes back, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's, this is it. I love living this way. Do you have any, just whether I be on the bike or just even anywhere, walking somewhere, it doesn't matter, how many really cool people I've been able to meet. Mm. And it all really started when I just let go. All of a sudden, I started getting that noticing little things. It's amazing that everywhere we go, there's people we run into that we, interact with. Mm-hmm. It used to be that maybe a third of the people I met were kind of nice, they were kind of cool. And some of them, whatever, just regular indifferent. And then there's a bunch of jerks. Mm. The percentage of that has drastically changed.
What's the common denominator?
And, it's actually a very small percentage of people that I find that are jerks.
Yeah, and then of course, that's another topic too. We call them jerks because they're not behaving like we want them to, or some people are behaving poorly, and then at the same time, happy people don't really behave poorly. Now, I can't always remember that. Sometimes I just don't, I get annoyed with people, but that is something that we can all remember, is that when somebody is acting like a jerk, you may need to protect yourself or distance yourself from it, but they're doing that because they're suffering at some level. I mean, I've certainly acted like a jerk in my life when I've been, I've never done it when I'm feeling joy and happiness, and at peace. Anyway, I want to segue into something else here, because when the concept came to me to do this program, and like I said in the introduction, I've been practicing spirituality for over 30 years. And there are a lot of spiritual teachers out, and a lot of people, a lot of authors, and I certainly am into, Eckhart Tolle and this new guy, Steve Taylor, British guy, just started reading the book. It's awesome. He's a psychologist, very, very Tolle-like in his approach, but he's got that psychologist spin on it. And there's a lot of people. But so I thought, what do we have to offer? What do I have to offer that's different? And one of the things that we were talking about, Mark and I were talking about the other day, is that, you can watch somebody for a while and be really inspired by them and almost like you want to be like them. Mm-hmm. But I've never really been able to be like anybody except me. Exactly. And I don't think that's the point. Like people share like Eckhart Tolle and others, some very wonderful, valuable, deep stuff, but they're sharing their experience. And we can't be them.
Nope.
And I can't be them. And I don't really want to be. So what I have unique to share is my unique experience.
Exactly.
And Mark has a unique experience. And we all do.
And I've read many books that I found a lot of inspiration. Some of them you introduced me to, But in the end, I still have that. It's almost like a distance. Okay,
Yeah,
there's this author. They're over here. It's almost like a celebrity. You know, you can't really touch them.
Yeah.
Is it real or is it not? And that's something our minds can get a hold of.
Well, you know, in the modern era especially, I think that we all, you know, I was very kind of almost gullible, or actually was gullible when I was younger, and I believed everything. And, you know, and after a while you grow up and you realize, you know, things aren't as they seem, and I've become very skeptical. Now, I'm open-minded, so I consider everything,
Sure.
but I tend to be skeptical, like
me
you're
too.
saying.
Me too. And, you know, to go back into the biking, you know, the motorcycling, when it came to meditation and a lot of various philosophies in the world, I am very skeptical. And quite often I get, this brain of mine, I get bored easy. But I needed it. I needed this. You know, there was a part of me that was just tearing itself apart inside. I mean, I was always just,
Yeah.
that's no way to live.
No.
I had to find an outlet. I had to find a path that
You had
I
to
could
find your
use.
Zen.
I had to find it.
Yeah.
Real quick, there's little things that as we've talked about Zen, and I've really thought about that and how this translate into other areas of our life that we don't really think about. Like when you talk about meditating and actually feeling the breathing, be aware of every breath, be aware of every movement, every sensation, every little bit of it, being aware. You know, riding a motorcycle is the same way.
Yeah.
I rode most of my life without ever realizing how I'm actually steering the bike. You didn't really think about it. It just feels like I'm just leaning. I'm just leaning this way. There's little subtle, tiny forces. If I want to turn right, I have to lean right. How do you lean right? You steer slightly left to turn right. It's called counter steering. I never knew that. I didn't learn that until about, 8 years ago. I finally learned that. I'm like, well, how come I never knew that? I've been riding since I was 5.
Well, you just did it.
I just
You
did
think,
it.
Didn't think about it. Yeah.
Being aware of it, though, made me a better rider. It made me a more conscious.
Do you? And I'm not talking about like when you're just riding, you just ride. Just like driving or ride a bike. But do you ever use that as a practice, paying attention to the? Oh,
yes, I do. There's times that, especially when I'm full of anxiety, or I'm angry. And now, if I'm really angry, I don't get on the bike. It's too aggressive. I'm too aggressive, and that's not safe.
Yeah.
But if I got a lot of angst inside and I got to work it out, sometimes jumping into the small details. You know, go find myself a nice curvy road where there's not a lot of traffic and try to steer with the lightest touch possible. Just that little bit of push. Because what I'm doing, when I felt like I was just leaning over, kind of like pulling myself, it's actually slightly steering the wheel the opposite direction, which leans the bike over. So practice using that little.
So what happens when you do that? If you're, like, say you're feeling agitated, and you get on the bike, like you just said, and you pay attention to the little techniques, the little movements,
the little
riding,
movements.
What happens to you after a while?
After a while, the anxiety, it's kind of like it gets numb. It goes into the background because all of a sudden it's not important anymore. I can get the same thing sometimes working. Focusing on the task at hand, focusing on what's right in front of me.
It's like a lot of women, my wife, when she gets upset, which she doesn't get upset much, but when she does, she'll go out and start doing dishes or cleaning.
Our mom used to do that too.
Yeah. Well,
and mom,
and mom did a lot of cleaning. Let me tell you. What does that say?
But you know what? It worked. I find that by the little subtle things, and it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be a motorcycle. It can be anything. Playing an instrument, learning that little, hey, if I can just fret right here and get a little bit better tone and just work on that little subtle movement.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Marc is a musician also, and we have a few projects that we've completed. One of them's been released. We did in 2013. It's now this will blow your mind. Zen biker who also plays Middle Eastern music for how many years did you?
17 years.
Wow. And we did a project that's a Middle Eastern, East Indian, Western fusion called Primal Dance. And I'll put a link to that at the bottom of the video so you can check it out, because it's already been released. We have another project that's a different style of music, but
Totally different.
but that hasn't been released yet, so we'll do that later. In fact, I think maybe we should do an episode and play a little music for the folks. What do you think?
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Right on, yeah. Now we got to discuss, all right, which music do you want to do?
Well,
we got a lot of them.
Oh, my. Then we'll have to meditate on that, and you'll have to do a few rides for that.
Yep.
Little inside joke, folks.
Anybody trying to find that inner peace, if you want to call it Zen, that's good. If you don't want to call it that, that's all right. It doesn't.
Well, Zen, like we say at the beginning of the program, that Zen means absorption or meditative state. The origin of the word. So a lot of people associate Zen with Zen Buddhism, and certainly Zen Buddhism is a very effective, powerful practice. But Zen by itself, I mean, they use Zen in business, Kaizen in manufacturing. Yeah. Kaizen.
Fact, we have to deal with that at work all the time.
Now, whether Kaizen is Zen, I don't know about that. But we won't go there.
Well, there is, actually.
There is some Zen to it, but it's certainly not exactly what we're talking about.
Sure.
But the point is, the word is used in a more generic way, and we use it in that way, meaning your centered place, your point of conscious awareness, and peace and joy. So, anyway, I think we're going to wrap this one up. So, I just want to say, Marc, thanks for being here and doing this. Of course, I had to really twist his arm to talk about motorcycle riding.
Hey, you know what? At some point, we do another one of these episodes about Zen bike. Let's take you out on the road with us. Let's take you all out on the road with us.
He's got a couple Harleys. We got to get some camera equipment to do this, but he wants to do an episode.
We could throw a GoPro on there and let you see some of what I get to experience. Because whatever it is that you love in life, it doesn't matter what it is. Bicycles. Do you like swimming? Do you whatever the thing that you can do besides being absorbed into
whatever takes you out of your head and into the experience of life.
Exactly. You can find that Zen place right there.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to have a mystical name or anything. It's in everyday life right here.
Well, the point is, some people, and myself included, enjoy sitting and meditating. Others have a really hard time with it. So you don't have to do a formal meditation to achieve a meditative state or a Zen state. You can, as Marc has discovered, you can use other things.
And what really made a difference between just going out there and riding and feeling that is becoming aware that that's actually what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Learning and applying that and realizing that, hey, I'm actually consciously trying to achieve a state. And there is, I guess you could say, energy towards that.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
And it's wonderful. And knowing that allows me to get to that state more regularly. Okay, so we're wrapping it up. So next time you're driving down the road and you see some bikers ride by, scary-looking bikers, you never know what's inside. Actually, most bikers I found are pretty cool. Yep.
Okay, well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of Zen Moments with Chris Cornelius.
See you down the road.
So we got to say goodbye to the Zen biker.
You know, if this kind of way of approaching Zen appeals to you, you don't have to ride a motorcycle. Turn off the stereo in your car, roll down the windows, and go out for a drive. It's the same thing. Really.
Take a walk.
Take a walk. Get out and interact with the world and let it work with you.
Like they say, stop and smell the roses.
Stop and smell the roses.
All right, bro.
You can,
You have a great day.
yes, sir.
Give him a hug here. And we'll see you in the next time.
And if you can experience your Zen to the sound of this,
Hi, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that episode of Zen Biker with my brother Mark. As I made mention when him and I were talking that we did a music project back in 2013. We did an album called Primal Dance, and the name we used for the group was Sufik Nataraja. And Primal Dance is a fusion of Middle Eastern, East Indian, and Western music. And you can hear the album in its entirety by clicking the link below this video. It's quite different, so I think you'll enjoy it. And if you like it, I encourage you to pick up a copy for yourself. See you in the next episode. Namaste.